Hey, you want to make some music? Let's make some music. Music production isn't set in stone, as there are tons of ways you can go about doing it. But when it comes to the basic elements of how to get started, that's typically going to be the same across the board. So, we're going to go through what you'll need for basic audio recording and production. At the core of your setup is going to be an audio interface like this. The role of the audio interface is to act as your audio input and output source, basically working as an external sound card. The biggest benefit to using an audio interface is that it can convert analog audio signals from microphones or instruments into digital signals that can be understood by your phone, tablet, or computer. On this interface, we've got a few inputs, nothing crazy, a headphone output and a stereo 1/4-inch output for use with studio monitors, but there are interfaces that are even simpler than this and others with way more input and output options. So be sure to get something that'll do what you need it to, ideally with the potential for expansion should that day come. Studio monitors are used for mixing and playback, and size does in fact matter. A larger studio monitor will feature a larger woofer, allowing you to hear more frequencies when you're mixing. It's common to see recording packages come with 3-inch monitors, which are great to get you started, but if you feel you're ready for that upgrade, it'd be wise to invest in either larger studio monitors or a studio subwoofer so that you can hear more mid and low end frequencies when you mix. Monitors will typically feature 1/4-inch connections, but sometimes you'll find RCA or XLR connections, so make sure you've got the right cables handy. Also in mixing, you'll want to move between a monitor mix and a headphone mix. A good pair of studio headphones will get you far, so be sure to invest in a solid pair of over-ear headphones. If you're tracking any kind of vocals or things like drums, acoustic guitar, or anything like that, you're going to need a good arsenal of microphones. Different microphones are used for different applications. Dynamic microphones are a great place to start because they don't require power, they're versatile, and they can handle a lot of volume. These can be used for everything from vocals to drums, on guitar and bass amps. If you're looking for a more open sound, that's when you'll want to consider getting a condenser microphone. These types of mics require phantom power, which is built into most interfaces. And with heightened sensitivity, you'll typically be able to capture nuances that you couldn't with a dynamic microphone. There's a whole rabbit hole of microphones you could fall into, but the key thing to successfully using any microphone is knowing about polar patterns. A polar pattern is how a microphone takes in sound as well as how it rejects it. Cardioid microphones take in sound from the front and reject from the back. A supercardioid microphone will similarly take in audio from the front, but will allow less audio in at the sides and a little more at the back. An omnidirectional microphone will allow sound from all around the microphone, which would be good to use in a great sounding room. There's also wide cardioid polar patterns that fall somewhere between omnidirectional and cardioid, accepting audio from all around with slightly more rejection at the sides and rear. Figure 8 microphones reject sound from the sides but allow sound in from the front and rear equally. You will find that most microphones only have one polar pattern, which is why it's common to have a little collection of mics that can do different jobs. But there are some microphones, typically condenser microphones, that will allow you to change between different polar patterns. Now, if you're not grabbing audio from real audio sources like vocals, instruments, or true turntables, chances are you're using controllers. A controller does exactly that. It controls software, so you're able to make music digitally. A DJ controller allows you to control DJ software, whereas a MIDI controller will allow you to control a VST or virtual studio technology, which is normally used as a blanket term for plugins one would use in recording software to emulate a variety of instruments. MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface and is how computers and controllers communicate. There are pad-style controllers, keyboard controllers, even controllers for wind instruments, if you can believe it. MIDI can be complicated and there's a lot of technical jargon, but this is a basics video, so let's wrap it up, shall we? Once you've pieced together a basic recording setup, it's time to get creative. Will your music sound amazing right away? Maybe. Maybe not. Creating music is like any other art form. It's going to take time to perfect your craft. Dive on in, experiment. If you're not sure about something, dig up more videos like this one. But ultimately, make sure you're creating music you enjoy, and of course, have fun. If you need help picking out recording gear or you're just on the hunt for some good deals, stop by one of our showrooms or chat with us over at idjnow.com.